Call this special meeting to order.
All right, Keisha Johnner.
Here.
Mark Ramey.
Here.
Steve McCombs.
Here.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve this morning's special agenda.
Yeah. Motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
McCombs.
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
All right, we got two business items. We've got a general election recount request. We need to order Jake to do that, and then Prairie Ridge Planning Review Committee. So the we
Okay.
need to have an order. So Jake, maybe just for the
Sure.
sake of the record,
Yep.
why are we doing this?
Okay, so we are,
Why do we do this?
U.S. Representative District 2 has a very close result, and the Rita Hart campaign has submitted a request for a full all precinct recount of all 24 counties in the U.S. Representative District 2. So that was officially submitted to me, at least, and I assume most counties last Friday. So that gets wheels turning. I've never gone through or done one of these before, but we were working with recount guides from the Secretary of State and communications and things like that. And one of the very first things that needs to happen after we receive one of these requests is to notify the Board of Supervisors, which I hopefully did last Friday. And then the board must submit a written order for the recount to the auditor, and this can be done by a motion or resolution the board has passed. So to me, it would be a motion to order me to do that. That puts in a chain of events. Each side has to appoint, it's going to be a 3-member recount board. So each campaign appoints a representative to be on the recount board in Marion County, because each county is doing it, has to do its own. And then those 2 representatives pick a third, and they are the recount board. They oversee and make decisions from that standpoint. It's my task to administratively provide what is needed. And we have to get together, make those arrangements, get the third member schedule, and this needs to be done within 18 days of canvass. So it needs to keep rolling. The recount board decides how we recount, by hand, by machine, or combination of which machines we use. So we have 2 different types of machines we use on election day. We use the OVOs, which are at the polling sites, kind of hand put in the ballot each time. That could be used for the whole thing if necessary. We also have our OVCS, which is like a big scanner that we can put quite a few more in, that would go faster. And then, of course, if we have to do a hand recount, then we have to figure that out. The plan at this point is to still do it at East. That's where all of our stuff is. We, Daryl and those guys have been awesome giving us staging room A over these last periods for extra things here since the election, and so they're letting us use staging area A for these purposes. Hopefully it will be big enough. I'm not sure where else to put it. And they then Daryl just makes do with court services and stuff like that. So want to thank them for that. So we're looking at this being a 2-day process, hopefully only, but that depends on if we're hand counting or not. And it's only for U.S. Representative District 2. Nothing else. Nothing else is on the table.
Steve, you look like you have a question.
Yeah, when this request comes in, Jake, to all these counties, are all the counties responsible then for the cost of these recounts, or do they get reimbursed by the campaign? Or
I believe that there can be a bond. Again, I'm not that familiar with it, but I believe for U.S. Rep, a bond for that level of position, a bond could be submitted to the Secretary of State's office. I think it was $500. I don't think that were necessarily had to do that this time because of the slim margin between the totals. So in essence, no, there really isn't any repayment from anyone.
About hand counting, that means getting people in, paying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure if that's done, that we would bring in more poll workers or not. What I did read is the recount board is not paid. So like election day PEOs are paid. But this, it does say that the recount board is not compensated.
Okay.
That doesn't include our time, but, so it should be minimal expense other than our time.
Yeah, I know, but still it's gonna.
Because it's our equipment and we're not purchasing anything new or anything like that. But
Okay.
I'm not sure, once that is convened, once the board gets organized and convened, then they decide how we recount. So I'm not sure how long it's gonna take.
Okay.
And they get to choose however way they want to do that.
It's my understanding, yes.
Right. So it is important that every legal vote is counted. We respect every candidate's right to avail themselves of whatever measures are codified within statute and state law. That's a good thing to go through the process, because voting is one of our sacrosanct rights. I mean, that is our one of our basic freedoms as Americans. So I think it's good that we do something like this. I think it's ironic that it's the Democratic challenger that wants this. Considering at the national level, nobody seems to want to go through this process correctly. But we will. So with that, Counselor, anything you want to add to that?
No, I would just note, I think Jake and I have been in contact since this all started to come to fruition. I think Jake's on top of it. I think Steve's question does reveal the fact that perhaps our legislators need to take a look at, just quite honestly, what it costs for a county to do an election and then a potential recount. I also think one of the things that's interesting and will be important for this three-person panel is the reality. Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, we have 9 days potentially to get this recount done before it has to be certified. And in a place like Johnson County, there's just simply no way to hand count the number 82,000 ballots in 9 days. If you start to talk about it's going to be X number of hours, because you could probably do a ballot every 15 seconds to show to all three people. The reality is the system doesn't lend itself to be able to be a hand recount. Just mathematically, there isn't sufficient time, especially since I believe these people don't get paid a dime to do this, and they're subject to significant scrutiny if you think about it, so you're going to want to get it right. So I think the reality is this whole concept of a hand recount very quickly, someplace like Scott or Johnson County is going to realize they can't get it done in the 9 days we have left. And I think there's some interesting questions that I don't think Jake has brought up, is if we ask for a recount, is it just Monday through Friday that we have to work? Does Jake's office have to work on Saturday as well? I'm assuming Sundays are totally out, but I guess I just don't know. And some of these things there aren't good answers for in the books yet. So.
Can they pick and choose certain counties to do certain things?
Yeah, the board chooses, the three-person board decides what they want to do for each and every county. So it's their decision of whether or not it's a hand count, if it's a machine count, or whether or not it's a byproduct of both.
So Ed, isn't it a function though of the deadline? I mean, the deadline is X, so that three-person board has to pick a method that gets it within that deadline, right?
Well, I would tell you yes, unless there's some federal judge who says our deadline is arbitrary and needs to change based on the circumstances.
Sure.
How is the three-person board chosen?
Each candidate gets to choose one that you would assume is a partisan person on their side. Then the Republican and the Democrat have to agree on a third person. And if they cannot agree, then the chief judge, who's Judge Honorable Michael Huppert for our district, chooses the third person, which Jake has already been in contact with Judge Huppert. It's just, as you might expect, it is problematic to think how many people do you know in each county who you would determine to be truly independent and be not a registered X or Y. I think it's hard. You hope that the two candidates can come up with their third person, who everybody says is a fair, impartial person. But the reality is they're the swing voter. So on every ballot, they're the swing voter, whether or not it's yay or nay.
Yeah, got it. Well, that's the process, and we'll have to work within it until a federal judge intervenes or some other court action. So with that, is there a motion to order Jake to begin a recount for the District 2 House race.
So moved.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye.
Thank you.
You bet. Second item in this special session is appointment of a member to the Prairie Ridge Plan Review Committee. Just by way of putting this on the record, part of our agreement with the city of Pella and financing the Prairie Ridge development, or providing some infrastructure financing for that development, is that Marion County would participate in the approval process for houses and other development that is done on that property. So we need to either have somebody from this board or another appointee representing Marion County on this review committee. I think it's a great concept and helps protect our taxpayer interest in this project. We'll do something similar with the VA when we go forward with that. So with that, is there any discussion or any nomination?
How often does this committee meet?
Has not been established.
Okay.
I imagine it would be as houses come online.
You said something about needing to meet weekly. I'm on the Pella Planning and Zoning, and I am very aware of the situation in both planning and zoning and being on the board. I'm willing to be on this committee.
Thank you, Keisha.
But I'm looking at somebody else maybe for the Knoxville one. So
I nominate Keisha Johnner.
I second that.
Keisha Johnner will be moved and seconded to be on the Prairie Ridge Planning Review
Had to
Committee.
take long.
I will be on the Knoxville.
So, motion second, ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
can I abstain? Aye, I'll say aye, that's all right. I
You
agree
said
to
you were willing.
it. I know, right?
So,
All right.
so the first part of this meeting, Jake, for the recount, we can do that by motion. It doesn't have to be a resolution.
It says, by motion or resolution.
Okay.
All right. With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Jay.